Video games are an incredible medium of storytelling. Unlike things that have come before it, like movies and books, it involved the player or watcher in a way that had never really happened before. Originally, when video games were more like Pong or whatever else, it was just sort of a form of entertainment that would sort of just like take up your mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. But now that they've actually sort of gone into more storytelling in video games, they can become really compelling and you can get really attached to the characters. Well, that can happen in, say, books or movies or whatever else. There's sort of a sense of attachment that you don't get with those, that sort of only comes through video games as you, the player. Especially if you're playing as that character, you sort of get a level of attachment where you sort of relate to them more than anything else and whatever else like that. One of the things that I find really incredible about it is the amount of emotional attachment you can get to characters. Now, I'm a sucker for this sort of thing, so I get emotionally attached to stuff really easily. But when a video game sort of gets involved and you find out a character's backstory and their past and what they like and dislike and all the really small things, it makes them seem so much more human. It gives you a sense of emotional attachment that you only really get with people in real life. Maybe this is just me. I'm sure there are plenty of others out there who have similar situations. But it sort of takes it to an extreme that's a whole nother level. If somebody mentions a character's name that I'm like overly fond of, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I love that character so much! So yeah, today I decided I'd share with you some of the games that I get most emotional about. This could be because of sad emotions or, okay, it's mostly going to be about sad emotions. Okay, so first up is the first game that ever made me cry. Twilight Princess. On the Wii, or GameCube, if you were cool like that and managed to get a copy of it on the GameCube, but me, I had to wave my hand around to attack stuff. It was very cool. 10 out of 10. Twilight Princess sort of took you on an emotional journey that was sort of unlike all the other Zelda games because it was so dark and because it was so heavy. And it wasn't so much what was going on as the fact that they were starting to put real emotion into their characters. And I think that made a huge difference in this game, and I've still got the stickers on it, it's kind of upsetting me now. After that, we've probably got the first game I ever bought on my own, Harvest Moon Back to Nature. Now this doesn't seem like the kind of thing that would be on this list, because it's a farming simulator, for starters. But anybody who has played the Harvest Moon games will understand what the heck it is I'm going on about. Another thing with Harvest Moon is the death of animals, okay? When I had my first sheep, Barley, and I let it die, I think it got sick during winter or something like that, but it was a snowstorm and I couldn't go out and give it its animal medicine, and it died. And the next day, the mayor came over and started yelling at me. He's all like, how could you let this animal die? You're a horrible person. And to an 8-year-old, that was horrifying. I felt like the worst person in the world. Okay, so here's a king of emotion right here. If I can find both copies of this, hang on, here we go. Final Fantasy X. That was emotional. That was emotional. I've got the remake here as well. As far as Final Fantasies go, it's the only one I've actually finished. There are lots of them that I want to play. My friend lent me Crisis Core, and of course I've heard that that's about as emotional as it gets. I already know the plot twist, so. Final Fantasies have always been pretty good at projecting emotion through beautiful animation, especially for its time with this one, and the voice acting as well was pretty okay for an English dub of its time. But I've heard that a lot of the other ones can be really sad as well, so I'm sort of taking people's word for that. Okay, while we're on PlayStation, this is my next one. Tales of Symphonia. This game has a really special place in my heart because it was the first Tales of game that I ever played, and anybody who knows me knows that I'm a huge Tales of nut. I've got some figurines back here. I've got these ones, these two characters here, they're both from Tales of Symphonia, Colette and Zelos. It sort of holds a really important emotional part in my heart because it teaches a lot of the Tales of games teach really good morals, especially about self-value. That scores really highly on my list because it's such an emotional experience for me. It's like my childhood game. I absolutely adore this. Okay, next one on there. Professor Layton and the Lost Future. This may seem also strange, sort of like Harvest Moon, because it's a puzzle-solving game. But this one is really heavily emotional at the end. And you're all like, hang on a second, this is a puzzle-solving game. I was in my library at college when I finished that game, and I was crying, and these guys are like, "Oh, are you okay, man?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm alright, just solving puzzles." As I was saying with Final Fantasy, here's another series that always gets you choked up. Kingdom Hearts. Specifically Kingdom Hearts 2, I find. Kingdom Hearts 2 especially, all the Roxas feels. Anybody who's played these games will totally understand what I'm on about. This one's got Birth by Sleep in it, that counts. Beyond the absolutely stunning animation in this game that makes you, like, specifically in the cutscenes, hey, such as video games, they have this weird power over you. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts is way up there. Sometimes when I'm feeling truly vulnerable, I'll get out Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and watch all the 365 days, like the long cutscene movie, and I'm just like, Xion feels right here, eat some ice cream or something like that. No, don't eat ice cream. No, that was a mistake. That was a mistake, hang on. Pikmin. Again, at first this might not make much sense, but this game is horrifying. Basically, you have to try and get all your Pikmin together by the end of the day so that you can leave into space before all the big nasty monsters come out. And if you leave one of them behind, there's this horrifying cutscene where you're like getting all on your ship and you're flying away, and you see the Pikmin that you've left behind, and they're like running out to the ship, and they're like, "No, wait, don't leave me behind!" And they fall on their face, and then you see the giant ladybug chicken thing come up to them and like eat them. And that scars you as a child. But I was never actually able to finish it because of that. Because of how emotionally heavy it is and how guilty it made me feel. Not all emotions when you play video games are negative ones. Here's one that makes me feel feels. Yoshi's Story on the Nintendo 64. This game makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside. I swear I'm just gonna like explode into a ball of fluff. It's just so adorable. I'm really excited for the new one that's coming out, Yoshi's Woolly World, because it looks like it's gonna have really similar happy fluffy feels to this. You hear the theme song to this and you just sort of want to cry yourself to sleep because of how utterly adorable it is. Another one that really pulls on music. Every time you hear this stupid theme song, you want to go back and you want to play this game for hours. Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5, yes 5, I can Roman numeral. This one in particular inspires more of a sense of adventure than most others, just because it's so free. There's a lot of storylines in it because there are just so many small side quests and stuff like that, so I feel like everybody sort of has their own adventure, except for you people who 100% it. I think that's crazy, I could never do that. So we're getting to the bottom of the list here. This next game is probably the game that has made me cry more than any other game to date. Tales of Xillia 2, alright, actually gave me heartache. This game in particular has a choice system, so it's got multiple endings. By following my morals, I actually ended up getting the bad ending first, and I was following the morals that I learnt in Tales of Symphonia. When I got the normal ending, that was sad. When I got the true ending, I wanted to curl up and die. And this is my little pocket watch. Sometimes I wear this and I think about it and I hurt. Its predecessor had nothing on it in the way of emotion. It was sort of like, oh, that's sad. So yeah, if you like your heart being ripped out, I suggest this one. I also suggest you play the first one first because they are fairly storyline tied. It's not necessary, but you'll appreciate this game a lot more if you've played through the first one. I've got one more game on my list now. This game in particular, I'm not sure if you'd call the emotions sad. Okay, no, it's got sad, it's got angry, it's got happy, it's got basically every emotion that I can think of balled up into one big pile. Mario Party. This flipping game, if you've ever played it with your friends, especially now that we're older, because when we were little, it all seemed like, you know, the happy, fun times, but now that we play it, there's so much emotion and anger, and it ruins lives and friendships. You will never be friends with them again. Okay guys, so I hope you've enjoyed my little video ranting about games that give me feels. So if you've got any suggestions for me, leave them in the comments below as well. But yeah, tell me, what was the first game that made you cry? I'm holding a dango, that's giving me feels as well. Dang it, Clonard. And thanks for watching, guys. See you!